Terry Miliuski joining me on the telecast. He's a former correspondent at CBC. He's the author of Blood for Blood. He's joining me from Ottawa. Thank you very much, Mr. Miliuski. And my first question to you about this back and forth that is bringing so many vagaries. First, announcing threats of tariffs up to the tune of 25% on Canada, then withdrawing them, then halting them again, and now a big announcement of a whopping 250% tariffs on lumber and dairy coming in from Canada into America. What is it that Trump is implying?
Well, whatever's next, by the time this interview is over, whatever I said at the beginning will probably turn out to be wrong by the end of it, because he'll change his mind again, which reflects, I think, a growing realization in the Trump White House that he really got this wrong. He didn't really understand anything about how tariffs and international trade works. And that is why he has been lectured endlessly in the past week or so by leaders of American industry saying, you realize that this is going to hit us, the big automakers in the United States, that all of the damaging effects that you hope to impose upon Canada is going to hit us as well. It's going to hit American consumers, our customers, and it's going to hit us, the US manufacturers, which in part make our products. We make our products in the integrated North American market. We make some of those cars in Canada. So you're directly attacking us. And he's gradually seems to be getting the message, and that accounts for these zigzags, the up and down in the market as the market says, oh, he's seeing reason. Oh, he's not. Now he's imposing tariffs again. Now he's not. So it's a moving disaster for the Trump administration, and I think at the end of it, he's bound to persist with at least some tariffs, but for now, don't worry too much about this 250% on dairy. It's a very small market that is involved. The 250% that Canada imposes, it's a regional political problem, but it's a very small fraction of the trade picture across North America.
Terry Miliuski, why is it that Trump is now focused particularly on lumber and dairy? Because up until now, the trade tariffs that had been imposed, as you mentioned, car parts, there's crude oil. But why suddenly the focus shifting to lumber and dairy, exports from Canada into America? And what is this logic of 250% tariff being imposed?
Well, because of this local political imperative, basically it boils down to this, that if you want to get elected in a federal election in Canada, you've got to be nice to a few rural ridings in Quebec who have traditionally, successfully carved out a little area of protection for their product in their particular local market. And so they impose a 250% tariff on any American dairy products coming in, but only after the aggregate imports reach a certain quota. So at a certain point, then the 250 kicks in, but below that point, it's much less or nothing at all. So that's why I say that that's not a big factor. It's not a big part of the binational trade or North American trade to include Mexico. As for lumber, that is a long-standing beef of the Canadians, that American home builders are trying to keep out, the American lumber manufacturers in particular, are trying to keep out cheaper Canadian competition to keep their prices high. It's basically protectionism in the United States that is keeping out the Canadian softwood lumber, as we call it, which of course is a key ingredient in home building. That's in part why there is a housing crisis in the United States. It's because lumber is expensive and they want to keep it expensive. Well, but Canada doesn't. We're prepared to sell it to you for less, and so the Americans impose tariff. So these two particular industries are, if you like, canaries in the coal mine on the trade picture. This is where the shoe pinches. And this is where they feel the pain currently in two important industries, but they're not as important as, for example, steel, aluminum, autos. Those are the big deals.
Yeah, okay. And also, what are the political implications of this tariff war that Trump has waged on Canada? political implications domestically, actually, because the elections are now going to happen very soon?
It's a very good question. And in a nutshell, Mr. Trump, I've already suggested that as a business matter, his strategy is completely backfiring. He's shot himself in the foot. The same applies politically. Guess who the best friend of the ruling Liberal Party in Canada is now? Donald Trump, because Trump has antagonized Canadians. He's attacked Canadians as a whole nation. There's a rally around the flag effect where Canadians are booing the national anthem at sports games and refusing to import or to buy American booze. They're boycotting American products from one end of the country to the other in Canada. And as a result, the Liberals who, if you'd asked me a couple of months ago even, I would have said that the Liberals, they're finished. They're going to be wiped out in the next federal election in Canada. Whoa, wait a minute. It turns out I was wrong about that too. It turns out that now the Liberals have enjoyed a revival because the topic has completely changed. Instead of the topic being how unpopular is Justin Trudeau, now the topic is how much do we hate Donald Trump? And of course, now the polls are showing it's neck and neck in the next election, whereas even a month ago I might have said, no, the Liberals have finished.
Absolutely. That's interesting. And we'll keep a close eye on what happens in Canada. Elections are looming and whether these tariff wars will at last end from Trump's end. Thank you, Terry Malewski, for joining me and sharing your views.